We're back. The Niagara Community Foundation is hosting a fireside chat this Saturday. The topic, mental health, with Canada's first corporate mental health officer. Bryan Rose of the foundation is here to fill us in. Bryan, how did this come about? I understand it was part of a survey for your donors.
Yeah, well, it was actually a survey that we did with our grant recipients, some of our grant recipients, and some of the charitable organizations that we partner with. So very organically, we were just chatting with them. My colleague Joanne Crick was reaching out to them, seeing how they were doing, and the feedback that we received was people were hanging in there, but they felt quite a bit of isolation, isolated from their colleagues, isolated from volunteers. Some charities in the region, as you know, are supported by armies of volunteers, and then to go from that level to basically nothing over the last couple of months was really hard for people. So I raised this in one of our governance committee meetings, and our board chair, Ruth Todd, who is a partner and a VP with KPMG, she said, Bryan, I've got a colleague, Denis Trottier, who is our chief mental health officer. And he's like, so she suggested to put me in contact with Denis. We had this conversation, the three of us, and then we landed on creating this webinar.
Now, Denis' story is really kind of interesting because he was involved in the corporate world through KPMG, and he felt his own mental health slipping and really didn't know where to turn. And yet, years later, he becomes the first corporate mental health officer. It's quite a turnaround for someone in that position.
It's actually quite remarkable on a number of levels. So here's a very successful professional, well-educated, doing great, married with the 2.4 kids and the white picket fence and all, everybody would think that this person has it all. And he did to a certain extent, but he was struggling and he didn't know where to turn. And he talks a lot about how growing up, I think you would agree too, other earlier generations, you didn't talk about your problems.
Well, he termed it in his story, the suck it up
exactly
idea, right?
Suck
Everyone was telling him, suck it up.
That's right. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off. People have it worse, right? And so, but it just magnified and multiplied for him to the point where he was so miserable, he was ready to, and his wife noticed it. So he was ready to end his career. And KPMG were the ones that noticed this, and I think they noticed this across the country with a lot of their very high performing managers and vice presidents and senior managers, where they said, we really need to help here as opposed to pushing people away.
Why a fireside chat? What is this? Is this actually going to be Denis
no,
in
not
front
quite.
of a fire?
Yeah, this was Denis. Denis wanted this to be very casual and organic and genuine and easy and approachable. So when Ruth and I met with Denis over Zoom, it was a wonderful, easy conversation with him. And so he said, Bryan, the three of us have just had this wonderful chat. If we could bottle this sort of feeling and this sentiment and share that, I think that's a little bit better than something with a PowerPoint show and a bunch of slides, because believe me, as you know, we're all doing plenty of those these days. We continue to do those. So we wanted to make it a little less formal, a little more approachable, give it a very human touch, because it's a very human thing.
This is something different for the Niagara Community Foundation to be approaching.
Absolutely. Sort of our three prongs, that we hope to do in the community is obviously our expertise in granting, our philanthropic leadership. But, we also want to be leaders in the community, in the sector. And this is just another way that we can add to that, because philanthropic leadership comes in many different forms. A couple of weeks ago, we did a webinar on fraud awareness and cybersecurity, right, for nonprofits. What are the things that, executive directors or CEOs or, managers at non-for-profits should be looking out for? So there's a very practical, tactical thing that we wanted to share, again, with KPMG, partners with KPMG. This one is just about leadership and about humanity.
March 16th, it's 3 till 4 p.m. And how can people find this?
Right on our main website. If people go to www.niagaracommunityfoundation.org, it's right off of our main page, and it's a simple click and a link to an Evite invitation, and it's free of charge. Please feel free. There's no cap. You know, we hope to have as many people tune in and listen to what Denis has to say, and then ask some great questions.